Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our Harmful Algal Blooms program. My name is Skaneateles, and I'm a water ecology educator with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Onondaga County, and I work as part of the Skaneateles Education program, which is funded by the City of Skaneateles to protect water quality in Skaneateles Lake through programs like this one. I'm just going to go over some quick logistics, and then I'll turn it over to our three experts, because I know that's why you're all really here, not to hear me speak. So bathrooms are located at the bottom of the stairs if you're looking for those. We also have coffee and water available just outside the doors to the right. We're doing our best to live stream. Unfortunately, we don't have a strong enough Wi-Fi signal here, so we're going to record it, and we'll make that recording available after the program. Please help yourself to any of the educational materials out there from the Skaneateles Lake Association or from us at UC Onondaga. And we're going to have a question and answer period. A big chunk of the time will be devoted to that. So we're going to have 3 quick presentations, and then we'll go into the question and answer period. So please hold any questions until that time. And I will introduce our first speaker, Dr. Greg Boyer. Dr. Boyer received his BA degree in biochemistry from the University of California at Berkeley and his PhD degree in biochemistry from the University of Wisconsin. He joined the faculty of chemistry at SUNY ESF in 1985 and is now an emeritus professor of biochemistry. Dr. Boyer's expertise is in harmful algal blooms, which is perfect for us, right? Both marine and freshwater, and in this capacity, he assists Lake Association, state and federal agencies. He is an active member of the Lake Area Center for Freshwater and Human Health and the current director of New York's Great Lakes Research Consortium, a consortium of public and private universities working on all aspects of Great Lakes science, education, and outreach. So, thank you so much, Dr. Boyer, for being here. I'm going to give you this mic.
So hopefully the mic will work here down here, and I don't have to hold it. So I was given sort of the idea of beginning the state of the science, which is a really broad topic. And so I'm going to talk very little about Skaneateles Lake, and really try to give you some idea of where our understanding on harmful algal blooms, specifically on the type of harmful algal blooms that happen in Skaneateles Lake. So I do actually have one data set in Skaneateles Lake, but that's pretty much it. I want to say right off the bat that much of this work is not I'm very fortunate to get to work with a whole bunch of people who are really smart and have really different ways. But it's great fun. So I try to acknowledge all of this. The 2 pictures that absolutely have to do with that. The one picture I just love is the Leo comic book that came out with the other comic book of harmful algal. There you go. The other one, I don't know if you recognize it, but this is taken out of the airplane flying into San Francisco Airport. And these are the algal ponds that they build out the salt flats there. And they use them to isolate power units to ice cream. So I put it in there just to point out that harmful algal blooms are always harmful, sometimes they have beneficial effects. Also. All right, we've all seen pictures of HABs, nothing new here. However, what you see on the left side, right, this is what you normally see. Often that was one of the sites. A lot of them actually happened to be seen on this site in 2019. But when we actually look at what is in the world, you'll see that on the right side there are microscope images of the and on the top one, it's pretty easy to see that this is really a diverse community. All sorts of different food shapes in there. There's cyanobacteria, greenhouses, all sorts of crazy things in there. The bottom one, the Skaneateles one, is first of all on that. But what you'll see is homogeneous, one type. But I don't want you to make the conclusion that because you have one type of knowledge, that they're all the same. So this is Kim Schultz back in our ESF. This is a picture of what's called tree. This is all organisms that exist all the way from slime mold to the and you'll see on one little corner of the thing there was something that's called animals here, right? If we have here, oh my I think it's oh, well, I don't think is that better? Okay, so on one side we have the tree of life, animals. And on the bottom part down here, we have cyanobacteria. You will note that the size of the thing for cyanobacteria is not the same as the size for animals. So when we're talking about cyanobacteria, your dog, and a fish are actually more similar genetically than cyanobacteria. So it's really a misnomer to go in there and say, well, we have a blue-green algal bloom, it's an entity. It's actually a very, very diverse population. And that diverse population, like any population, responds very differently in individuals that are present. So that's my conclusion. It's actually stopped right now. But let me show you some data that talks about that. First of all, let me introduce the players. This is a cyanobacteria called Microcystis. The picture of there is Microcystis aeruginosa. It's a very interesting cyanobacteria in that it likes organic nitrogen. It does not fix nitrogen from the air, so it has to get its nitrogen from the water column in some place. As most of you know, it forms surface blooms. You can see it float around on the surface. It's very common. It's found in every water body in the world, pretty much, right? It likes to overwinter in the sediments, so it will sit down there and pop back up when it needs to. It was first reported in the Finger Lake someplace around 1820. The really best reports are around 1880. So it's not uncommon to be found here. As you probably know, it's often associated with toxin formation. So the organism is called Microcystis, EIS. The toxin is called Microcystin, EIN. That's the toxin. But it's much more complex than that because the organism actually exists in a toxic, a non-toxic, and a potentially toxic form. And that the cell walls of the organism have absolutely nothing to do with toxin formation, but they're actually allergenic in their own response. And they can take some estrogenic compounds that can cause really crazy effects just from consuming or coming in contact with the cell wall. It has a historical name, by the way, of fast death factor, to be contrasted to very fast death factor, another type of toxin, potential liver toxin. Okay. Rule number 1, never trust the name. Even though it's microcystin, the toxin comes from microcystis, there are a lot of other cyanobacteria that make this toxin. They mentioned to me that they have 95 million Onondaga Lake, and my first question to him was, but you check it for toxicity. Because microframes is quite often associated with toxin formation. There are different species of microcystis. There are Anaemia species that are produce toxin. These different genera all have very different physiologies. So they grow under different conditions. And so while you may say, well, this bloom is not good for microcystis, this bloom might be great for Anaemia. So this diversity that I'm trying to talk about becomes very important. Okay. All right. Many of you have seen this slide before. I like to recycle slides. The first question most people want to know is, why do we get harmful algal blooms? And so there's really 6 things that I'd say are good. First of all, they have to have a source of food. So they have to have nutrients. Nutrients we worry about is usually nitrogen. They need enough light. They can grow. They are plants. They're photosynthetic. The water has to be warm enough for them to grow. And obviously, about that, it really has to be about 12 degrees C or 5 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not that they die when it gets cold. They just grow quiescent. They grow. Maybe some of that in the bottom. So I'll sit here and put this one off. They're often associated with really calm winds, and we talk a little bit about that. It has to do with the buoyancy. They need a seed population. That's a no-brainer, but since they're found in the water body, and since they're over the sediments, seed population is pretty much there. And then there's some really interesting stories about grading and deeper mussels, and I don't really want to get into that because on one hand, deeper mussels prevent the bloom, and on the other hand, deeper mussels cause the bloom. And so, depending on which way you want to fall, I think that's which way you want. All right, let's go back through some of those. 1997, we decided that blooms like it hot. So increasing water temperature, increasing growth of these bacterial blooms. This is the classic picture out Reynolds 1997. This you can see, the diatoms, they peak out, they usually start through the water. So for it's Skaneateles Lake or Onondaga Lake, Korean season, all those things diatoms. The green algae come in summer, and then the microcystis and blue green algae, they really, as the water warms up, they love that water temperature. So we always say it blooms like the hot. However, how do you use that? This is a very complex graph done by one of my friends, Greg Dale, at the University of Michigan. Basically, what he did is he went to a room, he took a drop of water, he isolated the 30 colonies out of that drop of water, and then looked at the individual temperature optimum and light response for every one of those colonies individually. And what you can see is that the pattern is not quite as simple as what Reynolds said in 1997. Some of those colonies, they grow way up there, and they peak, and they come back down. And so, they sort of are shifted over the 30-degree range. Some of the colonies, for example, through here, they really could care less about the temperature. They go just as fast at 15 degrees is the grow at 30 degrees. There are even a few colonies, for example, here, they grow faster at 20 degrees than they grow at 30 degrees. So they actually like it cold, right? Or as I say, they probably don't care, right? Stuff like that. So one of the things to remember is Microcystis as a population is composed like any population of a whole bunch of different individuals, and those individuals all respond differently. So we like to look at harmful algal blooms and say that it's a homogeneous layer. But in fact, that's not really the case. The other thing you will notice with the colors, this is somebody at the University of Michigan who's got way more power to do things that we do. But they also did light. So they grew the different strains under different temperatures, but under different light intensities. And you can actually see that these variables are not independent. That as you change light intensity, right, you can change the temperature response of your organism. Or if you grow at different temperatures, you can affect your light response. Okay. So this brings us to light. Second thing in this light blooms occurs is we said, well, they need light, right? And naively, we go out and look at the lake and we say, oh, it's bright, sunny, and stuff like that. They're going to love that bright sunshine. But in fact, if you actually look at the population, what you'll see, the axis along here is light intensity, like bright science, technically, my goal is to put on it's light intensity, right? Bright sunshine is someplace over there, right? It's around 2700 that bright sunny day, right? These guys are optimized for growth in around 30. I'll tell you right now, I have to do it on the phone. My guess is the light intensity in this room is probably around 50. So they are not optimized for growth under bright lights. Right? In fact, you'll see some of them, they don't necessarily dislike it, but they can grow under very, very low light conditions. And this becomes important when you start to think about, okay, what's a bloom happening? Well, the bloom is very bright on the surface. Once you go down below the surface, that light intensity falls off very, very quick. But that's now where it gets to be optimized. So the cells on the surface are not the ones that are growing. It's the cells that are 12 inches below the surface that are actually in the optimal light. And in fact, we did this experiment, and the ones that we could get access to here there. But in fact, these cells actually will complete, right? Sunshine. And so to set this thing up, this is the time of day, something like 2 hours, right? For a 24-hour period and stuff like that. Looking at the cells at 0 to 5, 1.5 meters, where the cells in the water column. And then on the far axis here is basically the deviation from the average, right? And so you can see that in midday, the cells are actually moving off the surface down deeper in the water column to avoid the light. And as the light is shot, or the lights start to dim, the sun goes down, the cells will move right back up to the surface. This, by the way, is 180 degrees opposite of the classic 1950s vertical migration hypothesis, where it says cells go down at night in order to get nutrients and they come back up in the day in order to get sunlight. Well, that hypothesis might actually still work for Skaneateles. It would be interesting to test this. But if you get into a lake like Onondaga, no chance. Because they need to move the region. Which brings me up to the paradox of nutrients. Large scale of phosphorus, 10 micrograms per liter or 100 micrograms per liter, 1,000 micrograms per liter. These are some experiments we did actually out in Great Lakes, but you'll see at low phosphorus, really we have a lot of isophytes. As you increase the phosphorus, you start to replace isophytes with crops. And then as you get into the cyanobacteria, you see the phosphorus concentrations higher and higher and higher. And so the dogma is that diatoms have better concentration than cyanobacteria, right? You'll see other versions of this slide. Let me describe it. Basically, Onondaga, thanks to the Onondaga Watershed Association, with study site. Skaneateles. I don't think I need to tell anybody, but those two lakes are low lakes in terms of their phosphorus. So phosphorus is 5 to 7 average. If you then go back and do look at the risk of some bacteria, should we have those concentrations? And this is a graph put together by SUNY ESF from Canada. Your lake data that applies here to the large lake, you'll see that as you increase the amount of phosphorus, you should increase the risk of cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is supposed to dominate when you get around 100 grams per liter of phosphorus. This red line is where you are. The cyanobacteria should not be dominating in Skaneateles. They simply should not have the nutrient uptake capacity to do what they do, right? However, remember this picture? This is virtually unreproducible. So they're not supposed to be there. They're not supposed to like these different lakes, right? However, the two other lakes we have, and Atlas, right? They typically environment population. This is something I used to Onondaga data agency because we have a lot of data from Onondaga thanks to the Watershed Association. We're looking at the percent cyanobacteria with the phosphorus, we get cyanobacteria with the hydrogen for 2 different years, and basically the take-home message is the message. Right? There is no doubt. Right? These guys are here and they are doing absolutely just fine at phosphorus concentrations that are below what they're supposed to be doing fine. And I can make up a story, but I have no idea what. Right? Finally, just to conclude, we're all interested in toxicity. You can't tell toxicity from so this is the experiment we did once that I didn't do it yet. So we basically had put all of these and tested toxicity, and you can see that some of these colonies were not toxic, some of these colonies were toxic, some of these colonies were toxic, and the colonies were not. Our original thought was that as it really became more toxic, we were increasing the number of toxic components of that food. And we had some really nice data that showed the change in molecular data. I think that was probably wrong. And so at least looking at Onondaga, the toxicity in the blooms in Onondaga is basically a function of cyanobacteria amounts. And so as we increase the amount of black mass there, we increase the number of toxic cells and increase the toxicity. And it doesn't seem to be a shift from non-toxic to a toxic. Now, the interesting thing about this is my one data slide from Skaneateles, is the blue dots are okay. Nice. We have 200 samples. who is there and the orange dots here are the Skaneateles samples that Frank has provided to us over the years and stuff like that. So at least in 2022 and 2023, the orange dots fell right on top of the blue dots. They were perfectly linearly correlated with the biomass, right? But I don't know what happened in 2024. In 2024, the purple dots, they seem to have set up their own pattern, right? They're still linearly correlated with biomass, but the toxicity of the population is much lower, right? And again, I can make up a story, if you want to make up a story, that can explain that. But I really don't think why that is. I don't even really know what to do, because it could just be an artifact of the sectors that we got. All right, just to conclude, cyanobacteria are a very complex mixture. They have different shapes, they have different morphotypes, they have different phenotypes of how they behave and express. They differ in temperature optimums, they differ in the light sensitivity, what's going on, are actually adapted to very low light. They actually, I didn't talk about it, they differ in the sensitivity to alpha so like peroxide, for example, there are sensitivity to peroxide, which have really, really sensitive and really, really resistant. And you can easily select for the wrong group if you don't know what you're doing. I didn't talk about this, but they also differ totally in their ability to make up new things. Some of them have turned on high efficiency phosphate transporters, some of them don't turn on high efficiency phosphate transporters. Some of them have ultra-low nitrate assimilation machinery, some of them don't. All these populations are co-occurring at exactly the same time in the same block. And how this works, so the practical applications, it's going to be hard to come up with a single explanation for why a bloom occurs in all that can be uniform in the population. Every situation, the atmosphere is going to be in how it goes. And data from other things, Alaska, may not do that applicable. It's been awfully hard to come up with a single prediction that can be applied across. So if you look at prevention mechanisms, it's kind of like real estate. It's location, location, location. Every prevention method works someplace. All right, I'll stop there. Last slide is fun.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gray. That was very interesting. I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Dave Matthews. Dave serves as director of the Upstate Freshwater Institute, a Syracuse-based not-for-profit devoted to the protection of water quality and the advancement of freshwater research and education. Dave received his PhD degree from SUNY ESF and has conducted fundamental and applied research on lakes, rivers, and streams across New York State. Dave has co-authored over 60 peer-reviewed journal articles on a wide variety of water quality issues, including nutrient loading, harmful algal blooms, sediment water interactions, aquatic invasive species, eutrophication and recovery, river recycling, and ammonia toxicity. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you, Leo. Can everyone hear me all right?
So at the Upstate Freshwater Institute, we've had the opportunity in recent years to do some water quality modeling to support 9-element watershed management plans for a couple of Finger Lakes, Roscoe Lake and Skaneateles Lake. And I wanted to take this opportunity to share with you some of the insights that we believe from this modeling related to everyone. As a preview, let you know where we're headed. We'll talk briefly about 9-element plans and how modeling fits into those plans. We'll talk about the structure of the water quality model that we applied to these lakes. Show a little bit of testing and calibration of these models, not going to be a lot of detail here. And then we'll do kind of a quick survey of insights into HABs that these models have showed us, including the impacts of intense runoff events, how phytoplankton community composition has changed as a result of climate change, increased water temperatures. We'll also touch on the impact of presented mussels, even mussels and pocket mussels, on phytoplankton community composition, and we'll offer a few conclusions. So I thought maybe it would be a good idea to start with at least why I think we're all here tonight, and that is a changing Skaneateles Lake. So just thought we'd get together on some hope shared facts. One is the lake is getting warmer, and that's something we certainly are seeing in lakes throughout the state and throughout the world. Some things that maybe are a little different than Skaneateles Lake is that total phosphorus concentrations, the nutrient that mostly limits algal growth, has been increasing over the last 20 years. Has been coupled with a similar increase in chlorophyll, proxy for phytoplankton or algal biomass. And the insectivus readings have decreased, so the waters we pump will be less clear over time. We might argue about whether it's appropriate to fit a straight line to these trends or not, but there's, I think, little question that there has been degradation in the lake over the last 20 years, and that's been accompanied by So, why do we want to develop watershed and lake lines? Why do we develop them? The first reason is that they provide a quantitative basis to look at some what if scenarios. If we do this in the watershed, we reduce nutrients, if we change land use practices, how is the lake likely to respond? And therefore, they're very valuable and actually required for use in 9-element plans. They are the quantitative basis that steer management and regulation of watersheds and lakes. And a more practical reason is that they enable funding of new projects and watersheds. They get extra points when they grade proposals for water quality improvement projects. So the model we applied is called CE12W2. Catchy name. It's a mechanistic model, so it simulates various processes that occur in the lake. It's two-dimensional. So that means that we're looking at changes in depth and across the short axis, or so go across the long axis of the lake, but it can't tell the difference between water quality on one edge of the lake versus the other direction. It'll become a little clearer in that slide. It was developed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It's currently maintained by folks at Portland State. It's publicly available. If you want, you can download it tonight. I would recommend it. It's not a video game. It takes years to develop the capability to really apply it. We have applied this model to a number of the Finger Lakes, Onondaga, and Skaneateles. Currently working on a version for Onondaga Lake, and soon we'll start applying it for my own plant on Skaneateles Lake. The reason we use this model, one is that its two-dimensional nature is very well suited for long, narrow lakes like the Finger Lakes. We also like it because we use a lot. We've applied it to all of the New York City water reservoirs. Because it's publicly accessible, it's acceptable to EC. It's not proprietary. It's been used in lakes around the world. And also we developed a sub-model that models either aquariums. So it's very applicable to some of the issues in the lakes. So I mentioned the model is two-dimensional, and it averages conditions across the lake. So you can see in the figure on the right, there are 36 segments running from the south end of the lake to the north end of the lake. And each of those segments is modeled independently, although they can talk to each other. And in addition, there are 1 meter vertical segments. I forget the exact number, but it's 90-some segments to cover the roughly 300-foot maximum depth of speakers. So it's physically quite complex. And also requires an awful lot of data. You need detailed bathymetric data, so you need to know the depths in the lake accurately. You need to know how the lake level or water surface elevation changes over time. You need to know areas for all the sub-watersheds. You can develop a flow budget, so you know how much water is entering the lake and leaving the lake. You need to understand loads of both water and nutrients, all kinds of meteorological data, and you need some initial conditions for dozens of state variables in the water. There are multiple variables that simulate different forms of phosphorus and nitrogen and color. So this slide speaks a little bit to model performance. So the lines, the blue lines there are the model simulation, and the black circles are actual measurements in the lake. If the model were perfect, it would, the snake would eat each one of those rabbits, right through the plates. More realistically, try to match the general seasonal patterns. And you'll note that we don't hit every one, but in the world of modeling, and the world of modeling dilute systems like the Skaneateles, this is considered a pretty good fit. So just a demonstration that the model works reasonably well and is suitable to make predictions. So, as Greg alluded to, everyone has their own favorite theory for how and why blooms form. I have my own favorite theory, and that is it has a lot to do with wind. It's not original. This was published in the World Health Organization's Home on Cyanobacteria a few years ago, which was actually The second edition that originally came out in 1999. This figure was in that original edition, so this is nothing new. But basically what it says is that when the wind is strong, the top panel, those aren't suitable conditions for cyanobacteria. Late is long mix, they generally don't do well. When the wind dies down a little bit, the lake stratifies, you get out of the growth, stratified, toward the top of the lake, but still not great conditions for cyanobacteria. Then the wind dies, it becomes calm, cyanobacteria do better in calm, less turbulent conditions. They're focused up in the shallow waters of the lake. And then the wind blows a little bit again, and they accumulate in one. And that accumulation we call again. And I think anecdotally, my experience on the Finger Lakes, this is what often happens. Why we see more blooms in the north end of the lakes, because the blooms are generally out of the south. So that's great. It's a theory. But we thought maybe we could use the model to test that theory. And we applied a floating conservative tracer to both the Roscoe and Skaneateles lakes. We started with a concentration of 1 microgram per liter, humidity throughout the lake, and then applied winds that were actually measured in August of 2015 to see if we could simulate. And you see the wind speeds and directions and the flows and stuff on the bottom. And in fact, as the wind continued over a period of 6 days, the model suggested that in fact you could simulate the wind conditions. I'm not saying this is how everything is, but the model suggests that it is a reasonable theory. Also use the model to look at the potential impacts of presented mussels on HABs. The model can't tell us whether mussels will consume cyanobacteria or not, but we told the model that you don't like cyanobacteria. So if we're right, if that's true, then these results may be suggestive of reality. And basically what they say is that cyanobacteria would have really very little impact on algal biomass as a whole. However, they would shift the population to favor cyanobacteria. So you see in the top panel, greens, diatoms, greens, and cyanobacteria. You see a decrease in cyanobacteria levels, suggesting that they favor the growth of cyanobacteria over the other groups, which they often do because that's what we do. I'm going to talk a little bit about climate change. We use the models to simulate future climate change. We look at 3 different time slices, 2020, 2050, and 2080, and 2 relative concentration pathways. RCPs, what they are basically a simulation of what we do in terms of carbon emissions. RCP 4.5 appears to be roughly the path we're on. RCP 8.5 is kind of the worst case scenario. And the far left bar are conditions today in Alaska. So we only get a couple of days per year where surface temperatures in the lake exceed 25 degrees Celsius. And as we move to the right, that's climate change progressing both in time and in severity. And what we see is in the worst case scenario, we move to almost 3 months of raw summer of the water being over 25 degrees C, which is thought to favor cyanobacteria over other forms. And then using the model to simulate those three groups, diatoms, greens, and cyanobacteria, we see that as we move forward, all the cyanobacteria are not dominant, they increase as climate change gets worse, until the worst case scenario when they actually can be combined, which would be disastrous. 2017, you may recall, was a bad year for HABs. There were other Finger Lakes, including Skaneateles Lake, and some folks questioned whether a couple of major storms that occurred in July of 2017 may have contributed to those HABs. And this seemed like another interesting question, which might be answered by timelines. So, in the top panel, you can see flowing to the lake, the two arrows point to those two major runoff events in June 2017. And then what we did is we ran around with those storms, we knew what actually happened, and then we removed the loading from those storms to see what would happen to them. So the blue line is total phosphorus, and the blue line is total phosphorus with the storms, red line without. Similarly, in panel C is chlorophyll, or rather biomass without. And the last panel is cyanobacteria concentration. And what this suggests is, although we can't say the root had been blooms, clearly the blooms would have been less intense, which is good news in a way. It suggests that we do have some control. If we can reduce nutrient loading during these major events, perhaps we can limit the severity of harmful algal blooms. This is a really complicated graph. I'm just going to tell you really the take-home messages here. These are results from Alaska. We reduced total phosphorus loading by 30% is a scenario. One of the scenarios, we took all of that 30% from the particulate form, which tends to be less bioavailable to phytoplankton. And in another scenario, we took again the same 30%, but we took it all from dissolved forms of plastics, which tend to be more bioavailable. When we took it all from the particulate form, we saw a 3% decrease in phytoplankton boundaries. When we took it from the dissolved bioavailable form, we got much more bang for our buck, 26% increase. That's the good news, is we know the target. The bad news is climate change, that a 2 degree Celsius increase in temperature would negate even the 30% reduction in the cell phone. So, to conclude, we applied a model to both the Alaska and Skaneateles. I think we learned a few things. One is that southerly winds during the summer can contribute to the accumulation of cyanobacteria in the waters of these lakes, causing have. Selective feeding by presented mussels can contribute to blooms as well, assuming that they don't like to consume them. Climate change is going to favor cyanobacteria through warmer temperatures and over calm periods. And in terms of what we can do, in terms of best management practices for our watersheds, they should focus on these large runoff events and most of the nutrients on our islands, and they should focus on dissolved bioavailable. Thanks.
Thank you. so much, Dr. Matthews. That was great. I'm now going to turn over to our last speaker, Tony Prestigiacomo. Tony is a graduate of SUNY Environmental Science and Forestry with an MS in Water Research and Engineering. Tony has worked as a freshwater research scientist in New York State since 2000. Tony joined the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation in 2017, and to give you all the suspense, we're going to he is currently a research scientist and supervises the Leader Lakes Watershed Fund within the Bureau of Water Resource Management. While he focuses on watershed and water quality issues specific to the Leader Lakes region and Central and Western New York, he also works with the Pollution Water Program statewide. Please focus on areas of interest include monitoring and assessment of New York State waters, watershed, nutrient building, and variability harmful algal blooms. Thank you so much, Tony. I'll get you tonight.
And I know. And say no. Say no to doing this. Thanks for having me. Very happy to be here. Very intimidated following Greg and Dave. So the list of labs do my best to give you a very rapid fire update on how the University of DC is doing to help mitigate the research of algal blooms. True fashion, those of you who know me, I have a lot of slides in here for the 20 minutes that I have. I will go fairly quickly. Feel free to ask any questions. So the title of the talk that I'm going to give could easily be what is the DC doing about HABs? So that's what I'm going to do. So the DC has a holistic approach to HABs. It includes it in 4 buckets. I'll mention each of them. Monitoring and watershed management, collecting data, analyzing data, putting together clean water plans to analyze each of those specifically in the region as a whole, and coming up with nutrients, in the case of mitigation and control of algal blooms, the nutrient reduction strategies to address that long-term control of the cause. Funding. In New York State, you can see the funds, projects, and watersheds have ways to bring our plans and others to reduce the amount of HABs. And so 2 such grant programs that the DEC administers are the Water Improvement Project Program, WPIP, or the NPGA program, which is the non-financial outcome. Now, I'm trying to remember as I go throughout, these are 2 examples of DEC grants. There are more grants available here. See, there are grants available for health, state, markets, local grants. I'll try to remember through. Today, in response to the harmful algal bloom problem, which you can see is funded over $420 million in dollars to reduce nutrient reduction projects in the state. We also do and follow research on HABs and causes, focusing on what's monitor data telling us what we do to prevent mitigate or model HABs based on data. We do have a HAB research guide that outlines our priorities as stakeholders research with regards to HABs, so feel free to check that out. And again, today, we have the resources of the $14 million and finally, involved mitigation. This is the piece that I'm going to talk about. It's just because a lot of it's done. But we are working on the development, implementation, evaluation of clean water body controls in addition to watershed reduction strategies. So monitoring and management. So DEC has a lot of monitoring programs. That link will take you to the site where you have some in-depth descriptions of all of these programs. But essentially, we have volunteer programs like the Citizen State Water Assessment Program, CSAP. We have professional in-house staff at DEC that have data on lakes. We also have that program. streams. And I have all of you in the room are familiar with the Harmful Algal Blooms system that we see maintains, and the RAID program is another volunteer sharing program for water assessment by volunteer evaluators, etc. But this is stream box to see how well I do that streams. And that's, again, in addition to all the local monitoring programs, nonprofit, private, academic research, which you guys are able to this is the addition of water. These are not to remember, but this is the deep sea division of water, monitoring data flow. So each of those points are one value of deep sea as monitoring data flow. So the blue are lakes and the orange are streams. Some are intensive long-term sites, some are one-shot crab samples only, but all the data is available online. Anyone can go look grab and download or research. There's our CSLAP portal, where you can access all of our CSLAP lakes data, and PDF reports to provide you with how we can see them. Again, relatively public, there's an open York data separate. There's an IHAB system that you've seen. There is a deep sea locator. Those of you that aren't aware of that program, that is a GIS-based platform where you can look at how the DEC assesses each water body and blue outlines of the lakes and streams, in addition to looking at data sources, water plans, species permits, spill reports, etc. All that's available online. Share with okay. I'm just going to broader water bits of data in your lakes and state offices. So this is a hotspot. It is showing total phosphorus concentrations on a bigger plot. It's showing hotspot of all phosphorus data collected in the lakes over 2017 to 2023. From all the finger lakes from the west and just the east and just the two guns showing the rest of New York City. The boxes kind of show the axis of the average of the data set, populated site over the period. The boxes kind of show the spread. So you can see that the phosphorus Skaneateles, which is highlighted in the box, is very low in the phosphorus compared to the rest of the areas, similar to Canada. The average is around 5%. The lines here, the dark green line showing what we would consider above where it should be a higher template. In between the two lines are moderate levels of phosphorus and below the levels. So this is Skaneateles and below that value. The top panel is showing snippets of phosphorus data in each lake, so it's organized the same as averages for a few different time periods, starting in the 1970s on the left of each lake. The late 1990s, 2004 time period, and then the recent period of 2007. Okay, what you can see is the response is kind of varying. The Skaneateles showing declines from the 70s through the early 2000s, and then probably early 2000s. Now, consistently rapidly. But again, staying well below that low. A similar plot over this exact same way for chlorophyll, over this favorite algae after you grow and photosynthesize. The bars are shown again on how chlorophyll lakes water relatively low. The Skaneateles is shown again on how they would blue with the average moving. And then the upper panel is also kind of the same as chlorophyll. Again, the Skaneateles showing decreases since the 1970s. So that's some of the minor data we have. We have a lot more. Someone wants to ask me about our water quality monitoring report, question and answer. That would be very quick trying to get you all of now. But with regards to HABs, we work with Office of Parks, Recreation, Historic Preservation. I was with Department of Health on reporting and coordinating response. So we're in conversations with vendors with regards to HABs and basin. Health concern with drinking water, concern obviously always about the health operators. And depending on who the regular tuning area has a jurisdiction, to start process and help us. They use that data for having something that's a relationship. In my house, moving from monitoring to planning, a big part of what we do at PC is to help facilitate clean water plans. Those are documents that identify concerns, put together plans of actions to reduce those concerns. And in the regulation, you don't have to have everybody's plans. I did a slide about great. Someone said, well, I need to have one of each type. And I said, no, you don't have to have one of each type. The check marks here by the name means that the chili paper goes down as a completed plan that they can use to cover and going on the regulation. And the red ones are ones that we regulate on that we will help accomplish since 2018, which shows you the level of effort and concentration resources. Grant funding, I haven't spent too much time. We look at the grant that take a year. There's also a really nice spreadsheet for funding line or two that you can use to kind of pick watersheds and grant types and so there are great links into the specific sources of funding available in the links and those links. Those are new links that have a lot of technical lines. Other projects that new links are able to facilitate various grant programs and various programs that we're pushing. In addition to great website and building the website solidify more focus on our research. This one, I have 5 minutes left, I think, so I'm going to do a little quickly. Each of the finger links has had at least one reported Harmful Algal Blooms since 2017. It doesn't mean that there's same duration, there's an magnitude, which is whether it's happening across the region. And then the slightly shaded orange rates are rates in the region that have phosphorus concentration less than 90%. So this occurrence of HABs and low region rates is happening across the fingers, not just in Dallas, it's happening across the country, across the world. This list on the right, this is kind of a running list of resources that I can look at the literature, document, apps, and other issues. In New York State 2018, the HABs Action Plan that was developed for Skaneateles and 11 other regions in New York looked at a statewide combining of data, looking at factors that when present gave an increased probability of happening. And so in New York, we found these 4 factors were the important significant factors in terms of what happened. So the presence of the freshwater toxicity explain how long the way it is and radiation with long stable rates in north-south radiation with the this is how those impacts. So you can get two figures and obviously process also for support in terms of radio control biomass apps and political, but again, sometimes maybe increasing the storage. And then the blue one is obviously also session based on how this control factors. We did a lot of research. This was being reported, right? This was developed. But looking at statewide trends, toxic degradation, looking at HABs, formation of sensing, all these things are being done in collaboration with administrative community groups and we were able to finally publish a big multi-year study on advanced monitoring pilot behaviors, with the monitoring techniques and data across 4 different behaviors. We do this called the plan 2015. The website uses has all the summaries, all the publications available with data releases, all the data available publicly free. And just as a quick, the conferences there are 2 websites that have 11 reports that you can just actually highlight this can work much greater resources to be able to do that actually. The peer study, the Skaneateles study, part of that project was the development of a real-time water mining site in Skaneateles that was here. We have that Skaneateles street. We here noticed that this site exists and uses it in the community with the water properties. Okay, now you all check it out. Look at the data now, the data, it's kind of a standard US decimal amount. The data is like and there is a webcam that takes a picture of the water surface that we go to people so you can laugh at all, which has changed. Or when you know, keep your deeper dive on the state so that we can understand some of the environmental triggers of the factors. This I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. These are the types of things we're looking at with water body mitigation. Very quickly, they're ongoing. Some may be more useful than others. Scalability will make the size of analysis. Population rates. This one, we're working to get more funding to the region through federal sources. We're working to secure supplemental funding in addition to the resources that the state is providing. More resources to the communities. Some of you may have seen press releases of $1.2 million of funding that we were able to get to ourselves for building staff capacity at the soil water conservation district in the communities. Eastern communities being the ones in the St. Louis Basin and Eastern, which is so. They have really established a state initiative with the government to help build local capacity to accelerate implementation of projects and watersheds. And then recently, to continue work, we were able to secure $14 million in implementation money that the districts and the coalition can use to apply for the state. And that's clean water infrastructure platform in Onondaga. So we're developing those funds now. We're working through the contract and it's happening to make sure markets where it needs to get traffic. Just know that we're committed to finding even more research to help make our watershed more resilient and try to control the watershed. Again, we're building tools to help track where projects are going in the landscape at the watershed scale so we can understand who thinks successful do is build watersheds. And that was the state side of thing. I do this at the end. I just want to make sure that I can say that our, state side, we're doing our programs, but there are a lot of local things that does and Boston that sort of doing day in, day out, and have for decades to do protection and all about improving projects. So our conservation districts, Skaneateles Protection, Skaneateles Association, all these folks are working really hard to continue to do good work in the watersheds to help. That's very fast. If you want to reach out to the question.
Hello, everyone. All right. Thank you so much, Tony. That was fabulous. We're now going to move into our question and answer portion of our event tonight. So I'm actually going to do all this mic over here, and I'm going to go out into the crowd with this other mic. So if anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand and I'll all right, first question is going to be Charlie.
Thank you for those presentations. That was great. I have two questions that will be pretty quick. And both for Greg. One is, I wrote some articles about ammonia, which ammonia inputs nitrogen being important potential driver of the agreements of the European Union. The second question is to talk a little bit about the persistence, what's the absence of release, persistence. Okay, this is the non-DEC opinion. So let's do the second one first, the persistence of the toxins in the environment. So once the toxins are released to the water body, they very, very rapidly absorb on the sediments, and they form an extremely tight linkage to the sediments. And so, usually, if you were to dissolve toxins within the water body, usually it would clear within about 24 hours. It would just simply go away. That assumes that you don't have algae in there that are constantly releasing more and more and more, right? But the question about ammonia is very, very interesting, and it's a bit controversial. Most algae will grow just fine on ammonia as long as the ammonia concentrations stay relatively low. Ammonia is toxic to the algae at higher concentrations. Cyanobacteria, especially microcystis, will grow with ammonia, so it can be a source. It doesn't particularly like it. They will grow on it. So there is a lot of question, especially in the Finger Lakes where we have atmospheric sources of ammonia, and if those are moving across watersheds, is that actually providing a nitrogen source? My personal opinion is that looking at most of the Finger Lakes, if you look at the relative amount of nitrogen to phosphorus needed for those algae, they already have probably 10 times more nitrogen there at other sources than they need, so their NP ratio is around 100. And so the contributions from ammonia in a practical terms probably is not that important. Well, because they got other sources of nitrogen they like better, and they don't. It's just not preferred.
Thank you so much.
I've got a seasonal house on the lake. The water intake line up to the 12 feet below the water surface. And my question is, if there's an algae bloom from my property, should I be concerned about using that water for bathing?
Easy answer. I'm sure no question. Easy answer.
I think the DEC answer is fairly easy. It's like we recommend that folks contact the law department with those sorts of questions. But I'm not trying to just pass it off. I'm assuming that that's what would help to be on that front. This is kind of their review. I know that they, in the past, have said that folks should take caution in using private sources of water for the public water system. But that's the rest.
I may have heard you say this. I'm a huge fan of common sense. So if you are all suspicious about the water, then you should not use it for washing or bathing. You should not use it for washing and bathing. And part of that rationale for that is the likelihood that you will have a problem is probably pretty low. However, there are certain people who are highly allergic to some of the components in the algae, and if you happen to be one of those people, then the likelihood doesn't really matter. It's low for the general population, but it's really high. So I really, especially for washing and bathing, a good filtration system of water is a well-maintained filtration system is a life.
But in general, is the algae blooms more surface phenomenon than going deep into the water?
In a theoretical sense, absolutely. But as Dave mentioned, when you have wind, if you have wind fetch, and if you have onshore wind that's going in there, goes out here to get mixed. And quite honestly, 10 feet is not very deep when we start talking about fishing.
Thank you.
The southernmost fish are great amounts in this area, including waters like the Onondaga Lake, sometimes the waters like Pisu or Tisco Lake. In my experience, and I've talked to charter boat captains, including one the other day who's been on Onondaga for 50 years, DEC, health department issues advisories, don't drink the water, don't swim in the water, don't let your dogs go in the water. I said, has there ever been an advisory or is there a tipping point that the DEC or anyone else is going to say, don't fish and don't eat the fish out of those waters? That's a question I hear all the time. People were, I know several people that fish Skaneateles almost every day who were like, stop fishing Skaneateles during this algae bloom period. Now, is that pretty safe? But like I said, is there a tipping point? And I'll ask the DEC, have you ever issued a don't fish and don't eat the water out of this body of water? Or you fish because of harmful algal blooms?
I can't think of a time when there was a do not eat fish order because of that. I know that when we were doing a lot of education out algal blooms and recreation, it was more avoiding contact with the bloom with your skin, because you were not reaching through the material to grab fish and move ahead. But I can't think of any. I have to look that through to be sure. But I don't remember there ever being don't consume fish order because of that.
Fish somehow bring all the bacteria in their bodies or no?
Okay, think of it from the point of the fish. You have been exposed to these blooms for a couple million years. Fish are very adaptive to growing harmful algal blooms. They metabolize the toxins very quickly. They concentrate most of the toxin in the liver. Only about 1% of their exposure gets actually into the muscle. Where you might come in contact with, and in most fish, they will clear within a week or two of coming into exposure. The real worry is if you are doing panfish, so things like black crappie or something like that, where you might eat an entire fish or something like that. But if you're doing normal fishing, you're biting the fish, you put the liver and stuff like that, the amount that makes it into the muscle is pretty minuscule. And there have been a number of studies where mostly done in China, where we actually have to go 365 days a year, where let's just say I would not go against the DEC, but I think the DEC is actually they have reasons for it not saying don't eat fish, right? So.
I've been on the lake kayaking and seeing bigger winds and outside the street on the lake, and the wind will come up and it will be calm just within 20 minutes, half an hour. So I've gone out kayaking and I'll come back. So then is it safe to swim? Or is that not?
Well, I'll do the easy part. So the easy part is the reason they're sitting on the surface is they have little life preservers that allow them to control the buoyancy. So primarily, so they can control their exposure to light. And so in nice long water, so we'll focus the surface. But those light preservers are very big. And so when the wind comes up, it will mix the water and it just simply overwhelms their ability to stay on the surface. So they get mixed up. They didn't go anywhere. They just got mixed down in the water, so you don't see them. So that's the easy question. So what happens? Whether it's safe to swim, I will pass that to Tony.
I think it's again, our recipe is understanding, what that looks like. It's thick, green, material, obviously, mercury feedback, or it's about feedback. If you're asking me if the water looks generally good, if it's safe to swim, that's just a really hard question, not just for cats, but for anything else that might be in the water that is going on, right? We take kind of a chance of swimming in a lake, regardless if I have this stuff. I don't share with you my story. I remember this is why I didn't get in freshwater institute. I got very sick all around here in the lake when I was a kid, and it wasn't a habit. So it's just not an answer that I can completely give. But Greg's graph showing the relationship between biomass and toxin levels is encouraging. We're very, very low levels of biomass. We don't expect there to be high levels of toxin, but we can't know by yourself.
I do on the lake, particularly the first part of my lake in Skaneateles for years, and I am so glad to hear you talk about the lawyer because I took a deep dive into research in 2017. And the more I read, the more confused I become. And so you make me feel food. You say, I don't really know. But lately I've been reading about the health effects, and it's really confirming. And I just want to read the first sentence of I've been trying to figure out the fate, transport, and the health effects. And nobody does know. And there's a dearth of information. This deals with your fish tank and this study confirmed the correct say, only the whole fish. You're probably okay for this. Microcystin has a biogeochemical cycle, pools, fluxes, and fades of the cytotoxins in inland waters from 2022. The very first sentence, microcystin poses a serious threat to the aquatic ecosystems and human health. This is from the very last paragraph. The visual presence of a bloom is not necessarily indicative of exposure to humans. Every single day, I go out on the panel program, and every single day since mid-August, in varying concentrations from diffuse to very concentrated. The second thing is okay. I'm not going to have that it is full still of particulates, which I had someone look at a microscope, under a microscope, the water looks weird, but there was microcystis in it. And so my question is the same concerns as everybody else who given health effects, and I ask to the academics in the room, because all of what I'm reading, these studies say, there needs to be more information. We know it's toxic, we know it's endocrine disruptors, we know it's liver toxins, there's all different kinds of toxins, but it hasn't been connected to human yet. So, my ask is, where is the Department of Health? And you guys, I'm testing for toxins on a regular basis, not just microcystins. In the stream, maybe at the end of every stream sample, instead of testing for phosphorus, or in addition to test for the cyanotoxins over time, for a whole season and see and answer that question. Because my 3-year-old grandson spent all afternoon in the water when I wasn't there. The next day, I gave him the previous day, I gave him now. We had diarrhea and vomiting for 2 days afterwards. Who knows? So I'm asking that you start testing for the toxins and you get some of those answers. And what I read is the toxins have a half-life of a half a day to 22 days. That I didn't read in any of those studies that they were on in 24 hours. So that variable, I think we need to get rid of. For me.
I'll take that as I hear the concerns, and I'll take that back and see what it's.
I said that it's a judgment call and I see people all over the day fishing and on their paddleboards in the water, and swimming, and boating, and should it be there or not? Should it be a judgment call, and we should get more information now?
Yeah, and I agree. I'm not convinced of that. I think that's a good question. But I think the grades, not the thread back on the grade, this graph, just difference in toxicity between 2 years. It's very, very hard to know in real time what the toxin level is, like each time you want to recognition. So, right here.
This is for those of you who know me, this is going to be a non-missile statement. I'm actually going to defend the Department of Health, which is something that I never do. When DEC first started monitoring, so if you get a little back in history, so really so if you go back into 2000, the dogma was harmful algal blooms do not occur in the ocean. They simply do not occur. And they never occur in Skaneateles Lake because the nutrients were too low. And the watershed moment was that they actually showed that Lake Erie has algal blooms. And so the question is what Lake Erie can, New York State can. So it took us 13 years to actually convince New York City DEC that yes, they do actually have algal blooms in the lake. And they were very supportive of certain years, and we would look for not only just microsystems, but we have a huge data set on the occurrence of all the other toxins. Some of those toxins, for example, the cytotoxin, which is very common in Florida, we're probably over 15,000 and looking for that toxin. It just simply doesn't occur in the Northeast. And, the strain doesn't do that. Some of the other ones, the neurotoxins, we know they're here. We don't necessarily know the source. It most likely come from the thick source. Some people have problems not getting the vitamin. But the occurrence is very rare and it's very site-specific. And so the Department of Health basically made the decision that because there were these toxins, which were phenomenally expensive to test for all of them, and most of the tests are going to come back to zero. And because there is a population of people who are going to be ultra sensitive to just the cells themselves, that in order to protect the entire population, right, we're better off just to go with a biomass-based cyanobacteria in the water. Avoid it. Doesn't mean that you're going to get sick. No, you cannot be one of the sensitive people. But from a statewide perspective, that was the reason why FDC avoided. I don't like it. I don't like to see toxicity testing, but like we have toxicity testing, I totally understand. So I fall back on common sense approach. Is that if you think you see it in the water, then go away. If you don't see it in the water, then unless you happen to be one of the unfortunate people who are hypersensitive, right? You may have never happened.
SLA, that's the phase of literature documents, like, physical effects that can happen to you, like, nausea, vomiting, skin rashes, breathing difficulties, and as you said, it's individualistic, perhaps, or something. And it's my understanding that Skaneateles water system is one of the 6 water systems in the country that is not filtrated, it's unfiltrated. And seeing there's a report in the news that the HABs have been found in the Alberta drinking water, not at a level that is of concern, but it's approaching that. So I wonder if there is testing going on in the lake water, like the SUNY ESF is also testing the drinking water. Can you really address that with another question?
Can I just address this in a roundabout way? But first of all, yes, they test your drinking water all the time. They test the lake water that they have in the lake water. They pump the testing. They test the distribution points throughout the drinking water. So it is very extensive testing. What I want to address is the levels of people. And I'm going to use the WHO data and the Society of NYSDEC. So the way they decide if what is a safe level of drink is they basically go science and figure out what is the minimum concentration that causes a negative effect in the mouse. And then they take that concentration data and they say, well, I'm going to divide it by 10 because a mouse is not a person. And then I'm going to divide it by 10 again, just because not all mice are the same. And then I'm going to divide it by 10 again, and just because I'm going to throw an additional safety factor of 10 in there, just for good luck, right? And then I'm going to figure out how much water you drink. Assume that you drank that toxic water 365 days a year for 40 years, right? So that's the amount of toxicity you would have to ingest in order to get to the level of concern. So the amount of safety factors that were built into that 1.3 number that they say is the cause of concern is astronomical. It's a lifetime back. It's one of the things that families right? So quite often when we say, did they detect toxin in the water? Absolutely. Is it below the value of concern? Yes. Is the value of concern already got an astronomically large safety factor built into it? Absolutely. And so one of the problems, this was very clearly showed up in Toledo, they had the exposure to Toledo, right? They hadn't really got to a value that would have been able to cause human concern. But what they did get is they got 200 cases of people reporting symptoms of microcystin exposure the day after the newspaper published the symptoms of microcystin exposure. And none of those could be confirmed. So we don't want to, let's say, minimize the worry, but support the Department of Health. But the Department of Health really has a really good handle on how to protect the drinking water. And there is huge amount of safety factors. I mean, if they get to the point where these are the level of concern, they would switch to their water source, which you easily can do regardless of whether it's going to actually be practical. What we do worry about is the water break out of the lake because we have no idea how far it's going. Go back to the rest.
I have one more question. Not totally up on this, but there was going to be consideration for some treatment to the lake. Was it called upper sulfate? And then there was controversial issues that came up in your studies and meeting. Can you talk about what that treatment effect would have on the lake? Would it be negative or positive? And also, I have a cousin that had a camp on Lake Winnipesaukee, and he said that whenever there were algae blooms, the local folks would come in and spray something over it to take care of it. Thank you.
Well, I didn't take the first one. For the city of Syracuse, which is about, which I did find something terrible. But the city of Syracuse has a state pollution discharge pollution system for students to treat the lake so that it can be protected over the long supply. And so I can put you, I can get you the name to go to the public comment period for that permits recent acceptance is. And a lot of these questions are on the permit, what it does, how it can affect the environment. So I think that would be the system. The second question, if we don't, the second question, I probably don't have an answer for it. Oh, like an algaecide treatment? Yeah, I mean, proper sulfate treatment. I mean, applying algaecide to it makes all of the treatment methods that are available and whether it's good or good idea for depends on how things pH, whether it's a copper issue, it really depends on case by case.
I believe that fiber sulfate is a highly effective herbicide. That's why people use it. The downside is that copper can also be highly toxic and the sediments sometimes impact invertebrates. So it's effective, but there is some downside.
I would say, do you have a conversation with anything else? We're excited about the comment period and the public information session we did, and I'll turn that into it. At the end, we have time for one more question. Is there anyone on this side of the room that you'd like to move on with here?
Thank you, Camille. Thank you for getting up and organizing for us. My name is Chris Lay, I'm supervisor, and I would just like to state up front that Camille has done an excellent job as an educator, not only organizing this presentation, but under the direction of the city of Syracuse with their money as a leader for the watershed municipal partnership. She maintains the website and she puts together all sorts of educational opportunities for us to better understand. A couple of people already outed Rich Abbott. He's here present from the city of Syracuse. I won't out anybody else on me, but the city of Syracuse is well named. The Onondaga County Department of Health is represented well here today. We've got a number of folks, my counterpart on the school and the town board, Lord Millen is here this evening. So there is intense interest in making sure that we're doing the right things with regulation and policy in conjunction with our partners who are at the table, and be able to divest the fact that we have Aaron McKeon here tonight, who's been a central player in getting us to the current state of our 9-element plan. Going to Albany to be reviewed by the three major departments to be able to get the final approval, and an extraordinary job explained by Ray Matthews understands that this will be the key for big grants to be able to find ways to mitigate as we go forward with the 9 plan. So I would just ask a simple question, clarification, that I think they discussed, but Rick will be able to answer. And you clearly identified for us particulate phosphorus, and you talked about dissolved phosphorus with bioavailability, and anticipated that once the 9 plan is finally developed, mitigation efforts will want to be able to address the sources of phosphorus and how to address them. For the laypersons in the room like me, if you could give us some examples of particulate phosphorus and some examples of dissolved phosphorus that has bioavailability. And in conjunction with that, I know it's very complex, but you identified runoffs at some of our major rain events that we had, and how maybe some of those different forms of sources, whether they're particulate or dissolved phosphorus, might enter the lake in those elements.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, that wasn't quite fair. I just threw that out there. And he did explain it very well. So, generally speaking, a lot of our best management practices focus on sediment, stream bank erosion, those types of sources, because they tend to be highly visible, right? You see a runoff event, you see a turbid plume in the lake, you often equate that with pollution. The fact is that generally speaking, those turbid particles contain phosphorus, but it's often tightly bound to the particle and does not become available to support phytoplankton growth in the lake. On the other hand, dissolved forms, which most often are related to either waste, whether human waste, animal waste, or fertilizer, septic systems, human waste. Those forms tend to be highly available, and targeting those will give us more bang for our buck in terms of regulating algae growth and so just want to make the point that we talk about phosphorus as if it is one entity. Similarly, as Greg talked about cyanobacteria being one entity, but that really is not the case. And we want to be smart and efficient to focus on the sources that really matter. Does that help? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that wraps up our question and answer portion. But let's get into the round of applause for all these questions. So we're just going to wrap up with some quick partner updates. So we're going to start with Andrew Hand from Supplementary Regional Planning and Development Board. So this is an update about what his office looks like.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Just a few weeks ago, we were able to the third public meeting for the 9 plan that was back in May. It was months ago. At that time, we were circulating the public version of the 9 plan. So we got some public comments. We got some comments from the Department of State, the Department of Environmental Conservation. So in the subsequent months, July and August, my office made some revisions to the plan, largely background material, for some information on state watershed rules and regulations and current water quality strategies, that kind of thing. So, a lot of revisions we made kind of on background material and a lot of maps, that kind of thing. And then through the past few weeks, it's been out to the Watershed Advisory Committee, which is made up of representatives and major stakeholder groups from around the lake. And it's looking like probably next week, actually, we'll send it over to the Department of State and the Department of Environmental Conservation to kind of begin the final approving process for that, which could take some back and forth. In other cases,
we want to get it right, we want all the details right. There could be several, it could be a couple of months back to it. But, I'm optimistic about it when we finalize. I don't want to say by the end of the year. I'm hoping by the end of the year, if it just is to say that we're starting next year, that's in practical terms from the perspective of applying for grants next year. Really, the target is by July next year. July is when windows are the state level. And I'm very depressed in this point of this happening. I'm pretty sure those always sure. I know it's like DC really no. In other news, I was working with Frank Moses at the Stanford Association on the Mighty Way project. We secured the to the state for the water quality improvement program funds last year for Onondaga County. And so the Mighty Way Homeowners Association is an association to do the street stabilization project in that area. And just a couple of weeks ago, we applied to the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. That was SMA this time also with the Celebrate Conservation District. And in partnership with the Central American Land Trust, we for some funds to do water, budget, spraying, and some tree planting on the Central Trust. So that's how we got to the
Thanks so much, Ian, for the update. Now I'm going to turn it over to Tony Prestigiacomo from the Association to share the
I realize it's 8:49, and we're a little behind. I could set the timer, so I'm not sure how brief is there. Okay, so I just hit the space bar, and that'll work. So here, Mary always talk about some of these examples of the red ones. We had a wake-up call in 2017. I started working with the Lake Association in 2019, but I know exactly where I was when those groups got on the lake, because I had a new member to the family in 2017. When we learned about this stuff getting in the waters and this happening, things got real in terms of it. My son Harrison, 7 years old today, was a pre-short. Thanks, Mary, for all the nursing work you do, keeping these kids alive. It was a phone call to find out where our water was coming from. And because he was jaundiced, and we had to be informed. And so I understand what it means when things happen and these concerns. But we've been very fortunate since then. It's been 7 years, so we've had a little bit of a diminished. We've had another wake-up call, a lot of activity, and we're obviously here for the concern. And what builds my confidence is to say thank you to Emil, to Greg, to Dave, to Tony, to everyone in this room that's been part of this, to be able to take care of this. The Lake Association is the only sole not-for-profit that's solely dedicated to this watershed, working with all the partners in the Land Trust. And Aaron, thank you for teaming up and putting some things into action to take care of these things. This is just a snapshot of this season. We've had a lot more public observations. This is ranging from July 29th, 20 days earlier than our earliest historic compared to this. We were August 10th was the earliest before July 29th. Things are getting warmer. We're seeing an earlier onset in the longer bloom season. I'm hoping we're done, and we're not going to see more of this. But raise your hand if you're here part of, if you put in a blue report this year. Thank you. This is the recreational exposure that I'm concerned about. The little kids swimming, the their mouths open, if they're in this, if everybody knows what it looks like, it's the dogs that are getting exposed to this. So our goal is to make sure when these alerts happen, we get something out to the community as soon as possible. And the DC's got a phenomenal program that archives everything, but there's a little lag time. So we said we've got to just get the information out in real time when something happens with these observations. And then we're looking back and getting this wonderful data through that. The DC's been there to train our volunteers on what to look for. We have 30 volunteers doing these 60 observations, but we had 26 active days this year. There is some observation bias, but it's unprecedented. John McAllister, thank you for all your volunteer coordination and helping keep us moving along. I'm going to be quick. It's what are we doing? I have this special report that talks about folks like Bill Dean, that's here, has been a champion, a cheerleader, saying we got to do something now. So we didn't wait for the 911 plan. We wanted to get going as soon as possible to start looking at best emerging practices, working with different partners in the watershed. It's not just us, but at least there are some efforts in this report to learn about what we've done between 2017 and 2023. 2018 and 2022 is response to this, and where we want to go in the future, work as a community, which is, these are just some examples. Aaron mentioned working to protect highlands. This will help sustain and stabilize the soils and steep ravines, because during those gully gushing storms that estimated practice, we don't have another strategy in the steep ravines. So we are protecting the roots. Buzz Roberts, thank you for all your support and working with private vendors and working with our partners to protect these precious trees that help our lake. We also keep the water cool. So we're finding that the lakes are getting warmer. We want our trees and the current stream zones that have more trees, keeping our waters cooler before we enter the lake. This is on 10 Mile Creek. We're looking to stabilize streams. So they're handling more. This is Gene Bodici with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I believe that's down there working on putting some stabilization, and just some cost sharing with the camp to protect their property, but also to try and build back some of these nutrients coming down, so it's not ripping down the feeds, but we also protect some soils here. This is an example of a detention pond that when the high flow comes, it hits this weir, hits this, and goes into a pond like a mini button to handle that chocolate milk that we see, let it settle out to give it some time, putting more kidneys into the lake system, right, that are sponge. So these are just some examples. We have ESF on to meadow, to roof the lake. That's our campaign I'm trying to push is to move more of the lake, to get more of the deep roots in our grounds to help, especially between your septic and the shoreline, between your septic and your streams. Get some deep roots in that can actually help take and absorb some of that bioavailable nutrients before getting there. What do we do with partners? Well, Aaron just helped talk about the 911 plan. It's all of us together to work to go after these state funds and private funds and resources. But we're not together. We're not alone in this. And it's really up to all of us to think about the changes we can make. I hope if you haven't received this in the mail at home, you can take home the living guide. It's a brief introduction to all the different things we can think about and do. But please call us, call the city, please call Camille. Reach out for the different resources on different things we can do better to come and help fix some of these problems. I'm just going to end with playing a little video that's I'll say everyone here saw who cares. But we want you to reach out to your neighbors, right? Please reach out and get more involved. Definitely make it better. Thanks again, everyone.
That was excellent, Rain. I'm impressed. That was great. I'm going to be last, and I'm going to be really, really quick. I'm just going to talk about what we at SUNY Onondaga have been up to and specifically. And I'm really going to just introduce you all to the Skaneateles website. So if you haven't seen the Skaneateles website, it's skaneateles.org. We have a lot of really great information available to you all. So on the homepage, I try to keep it really up to date. So obviously, we've been seeing a lot of harmful algal blooms. I have information about all of that here for you. We actually have a link to the microsystem results, so you can see when it's being tested and that toxins were not detected. So this information is available on our website. You can see it. I know a lot of people have been looking for it, but we have it right here in the Skaneateles website for you. You can see it on the homepage, and then we also have an entire page devoted to harmful algal blooms. We have a link to where you can report a bloom in case you don't know. We have a link to the New York HABs map where you can see all the maps that are laid out the state right now. And then also a link to the city's information as well. We have information about drinking water, if there are reports to be toxins, who would know about it. And just we'll list the blooms as well here. I'm on staff at SLA because there have volunteers out there monitoring for the algal blooms, but I will try to add ones that have been reported in the last couple of weeks. You can kind of see them roughly where they are located around the lake. We also have the page for the toxin results that you can also go to, which has a link here as well. We also have a lot of really great information on agriculture. So unfortunately, Mark Berger from Soil Water Conservation this week couldn't make it tonight, but he did send me a lot of really great information. I have one of the fact sheets out there on the table with all the best management practices, and I also added the progress report so you can see what the Skaneateles Lake Watershed Agricultural Program has been up to in the last year. And I'll add any news that you send to me, any updates on this webpage as well. So if you're curious what the farmers are up to, you can see that on this website. And then the last thing I'll point out, just because we brought it up, is the algae control page. So this has more information on the Earth Tech treatment. So this has a link to view the public information session recording where a lot of questions were asked. And then it also has a question and answer that we can get to here, and the presentation slides as well as the speed permit that we talked about, and just some fact sheets on that. So we have a lot of really great information. There's more that I can possibly show you in this time period, but we do have a lot of information on this website. And I'm also open to any feedback that you all have. So if you're like, hey, I would really love to see this on the website, please send me an email. Some of my contact information up here for you. I also have business cards out there. We'd love to make the website a resource for you all. And so if you have any feedback or additions you'd like to see, things that are not clear on the website, things you're having trouble finding, please just let me know. I'd be happy to help you out with that and see how we can update the website. So that's pretty much it for me. I just want to say a huge thank you to you all for coming out tonight, to our incredible, experts who are so lucky to have all of their knowledge here locally and having your race with us. So thank you so much, Brian, Dave, and Tony. I really appreciate you coming out tonight. So yes, we should have a round of applause. And then I want to remind you that we have an evaluation form that you should pick up when you register. Please fill that out and put it on the table for us. And if you did grab one, there should be extras on the table that you can grab and fill out as well. We attempted to record this, hopefully everything went well tonight, and I'll send that to you all and share it out more widely as well for anyone who missed it this evening. But otherwise, thank you all.